Hello guys. So this video is for cohort A to start off. I want you guys to be watching this on Friday. Cohort B, you're going to be watching this next Wednesday or Thursday. Alrighty. So what I'm going to go over today is just the new material that you need to learn for this week's playing test, this week's upcoming playing test. Now I'm going to go ahead and straight up tell you right now, the material you're going to learn this week is nothing terribly difficult. I'm taking into account the fact that we're having these extra days off and, virtual days and all that jazz. To make sure that you guys are not going to be taxing yourselves too much. You're going to be using the same chords we've already been using, right? The D chord, the A7 chord, and the G chord. But we're going to be using them in different ways. Okay? So if you could right now go ahead and turn to page 15 in your book. Go ahead and pause this video while you get to page 15. And what you're going to be doing is you're going to be using eighth notes in order to do the things we're going to do this week. Now, eighth notes are just basically half of a quarter note. Now, remember, when we've got our regular beats going on, we've got our chords going on, if we are counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 for our measures, our 4-beat measures, then we have the whole note, which is going to be held out for the entire length of one measure. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. We have the half note, which is 2 beats. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So 2 beats each. Then we have the quarter note, which is 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So each of those we've already covered. Eighth notes are just half of a quarter note, which means you're going to be doing 2 of them every beat. Or you can have one that's half a beat long. And we're going to be doing that quite a bit as we go forward. So instead of our quarter notes of 1, 2, 3, 4, instead it's going to be twice as fast. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Okay? And the way you do that, the way you do those eighth notes, is just going up the opposite direction when you are playing. So you guys have been playing by using your pick and going down. It's called a downstroke, which makes perfect sense, right? Going down in your guitar. And to do that eighth note and get there in time, because trying to do downstrokes for just eighth note is difficult. It's a lot easier to have your second of those eighth notes to just go up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's a lot easier to go do, 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 do. Okay? So, we're going to be using those first when we're looking at our basic strum number 2. I told you guys last week that we're going to be using some of these different rhythms, and this is when we're going to start. So the basic strum number 2 at the bottom, page 15, you're going to use an upstroke with a pick on the eighth note rhythms that occur on the up beat. Now, if you're looking at this, go ahead and wait, what's the upbeat? I'm not sure. Now, look down at that example down there for number 9, piece number 9. So you have the pieces that look like a staple going down, okay? That's the downbeat. Okay? Whenever you see that staple looking mark, that means that you're strumming downward with your pick or your fingers. When you see the little things that look like the end of a down arrow or a caret, that's an upbeat. Okay, so you have in this example number 9, you've got this chord where you're going down, then down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down. Okay, and that's all there is to it. So when you're looking at this, you're going to have basically the basic strum number 2 is just having bum, bum, up, bum, up, bum, 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 up, bum, 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 bum. That's all it is. Okay, quarter note, 8, 8, 8, 8, quarter, quarter, 8, 8, 8, 8, quarter, and that's all it is. And again, you're just using chords we've already covered, right? Nothing new. So you're going to start out with that D chord. You're going to go down, oops, sorry, down, down, up, down, up, down. Okay, down, down, up, down, up, down. Now, be aware as you're looking at this. that when you're doing that, you don't have to get every single one of those strings on that upbeat. See where it says right there, the pick style part says strum the top 2 or 3 treble strings or highest sounding strings when you're doing that upbeat. So it's not nearly as important that when you're going up that you get every single one of those strings. The important thing is that the chord still sounds, okay? Because then you're going to go down right after it, and all those deeper notes are going to be hit just fine. Sorry, I keep hitting the wrong notes on the D. Okay, so if you're looking at example number 9, for example, go ahead and look at this for a second. You're going to start with the D chord, the G chord, the A7 chord, and the G chord. And again, you're going to use that rhythm: quarter, eighth, 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 quarter, quarter, eighth, 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 quarter. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and go very slow so you guys understand what I'm doing. So with that D chord, you've got, and then you're going to go up to G, then over to the A7, and back to the D. Okay. Now, if you were listening closely, you would have noticed that when I do those upbeats, those da 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 da, I'm not playing every single one of those strings. But as soon as I go back down on the downbeat, you can hear it right away. Right, so it works very well that way. Okay. You may have also noticed that I wasn't playing it just straight, like dun 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 dun, just because I never play it straight like that. Once you've been playing for a bit, you never play eighth note rhythms like that straight. You always do the just because it sounds better on guitar to have that ba-doo, ba-doo. Okay. Anyway, so that's the first thing you're going to be working on this week, is just getting those different chords and being able to do those different rhythms as you go through it. And you're going to add on to that with what's on page 16. So if you're not ready to go further than the basic strum number 2, then just pause the video right here and work on that for a while. And then after you've worked on that for a while, you can move forward to page 16 and focus on what you're going to be tested on this week. Okay? Again, if you want to pause it right now, go ahead. So on page 16, the first thing we're going to be looking at is the very top, the primary, bass, or root. Go ahead and read along with me right here. Various types of accompaniment use the primary, bass, or root of the chord. The root or primary bass of any chord is the same as its name. The root of the D chord is D, the root of the G chord is G, and the root of the A7 chord is A. So let me make sure I spell that out for you real fast. So when you're looking at, for instance, the D chord, right? You got your fingers in position for your D chord, and you would usually play those 4 strings, right? Try that again. The root of the D chord is the 4th string open, this string right here. It's the lowest string in that D chord, and it's also open. You're not actually going to be holding down any strings for it. Okay, so that note right there is D. That's the note D. Okay. For the chord G, once you get in position for the G chord, the root of the G chord is the 3rd fret of the 6th string, that lowest string. That note is the root. And then for the A7 chord, you've got all of those strings except the lowest one. The root of the A7 chord is the 5th string, the open 5th string, right here. Because that note is A. That's the root. Now you're going to be using each of these roots when you do this week's song, which is exercise 10 under the bass chord strum. You're looking at this exercise, and you see that you have tab, and you might be thinking, well, I don't know how to read tab, I don't know what I'm doing. So this is actually an excellent way to introduce you to the concept of tab, because it's a really simple song and it's broken down really easily so you can follow along with it. So when you are looking at tab, it's as if you are holding your guitar like this in front of you. Okay? So if you're looking down at your strings, the ones that are closest to you are on the bottom. Those are the low notes. The ones that are farthest from you are on the top. Okay, it's the same way with your tab. Look into those 6 lines of the tab, and you've got that lowest string, which is the lowest note. And you've got the highest string, which is the highest note. Okay, so it makes sense. Now, as you're looking at that, you also see that it's got numbers on those individual lines, and that is the fret that you're going to hold down. So, for example, my proto pick. For example, as you are looking at this first note in exercise number 10, you see that the lowest string, the lowest line, has a 3 on it, which means you're going to have your finger on the third fret of that lowest line. It's going to sound like, and all you're going to play is just that string. You only play the notes that have numbers on them in tab. Okay? If it doesn't have a number on it, you just leave it alone. Now, if you're looking at this exercise number 10, you see above it, it has the chord G on it. So as you're doing exercise 10, you can just have your fingers in position for the G chord as you're doing these first 2 measures. Okay? Because when you have your fingers in position for the G chord, you're looking at this and you're going, okay, I see the 3rd fret of the lowest string. And then I see, all right, the 3rd fret of the highest string and 3 other open strings beside them. So that's going to be... Okay. So for those first 2 measures, what you're going to play is this. Okay. So all you do is just the individual lowest note by itself for the first measure and the first beat of the second measure. And then for 3 beats of the second measure, you're going to do just those 4 highest strings of the G chord. Okay. So again, it's gonna sound like this. Okay. And then you're gonna change it over to A7. And again, the root of the A7 chord is what you're gonna play. So you're gonna get your fingers in position for the A7. Okay. Get those 2, the pointer and the middle finger in position. And you're gonna play just the open 5th string 5 times. And then you're going to play the highest 4 strings, because that's what it has marked in the tab. Okay. Again, it's basically like you're just breaking down those chords into pieces. It's really all it is. All right. Now you see down at measure 5 of exercise number 10, you've got the D chord, and again, the root of the D chord is that 4th string. So that string is open. You're going to play that open 4th string. And then play the other 3 highest strings. You can see 2nd fret of the 3rd string, 3rd fret of the 2nd string, 2nd fret of the 1st string. And then you're going to go back to G, play that root once, and then play the chord 3 times. Then the root 1 more time. And then you're going to use that rhythm that we just learned. Okay, so if you put all of this together, here's what it's going to sound like. So you're going to go back to that G chord at the beginning. You're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, chord, chord, chord. Get your fingers in position for A. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And down to G. Back to G. Okay, so that is what I'm going to have you guys performing for me at your next playing test, is exercise number 10. I'm not giving you options this week just because I wanted to narrow it down, make it a little easier for you guys. You're using the same chords you've already learned, no new chords, just new rhythms and new techniques with those chords, okay? You're not getting your fingers into any new positions to do it. You're just playing different strings at different times, and you're doing a couple new rhythms for it, okay? So I'm also going to upload a video of me just playing exercise number 10 straight all the way through. I'm going to do it nice and slow for you, and that'll be your little guide to follow along with. Okay? If you have any questions, please ask me in the Meet or ask me in person, depending on where you are at the time, and I'd be happy to help you with that. All right? So here is exercise number 10 for you to practice along with and follow with me. Again, you're going to start with your G chord. That's all it is. Okay. Now, one of the nice tricks that I want to make sure you guys are aware of is when you are doing these chord changes, you are, with the A7 chord, the D chord, you're going to be playing those roots on open strings, which means if you don't quite have your fingers in position when you're going from the G to the A7 chord, if they're not quite ready yet, you can still just play that open root, that open fifth string, 5 times as you're getting your other fingers in position. Same thing with when you're moving from the A7 to the D. You can just have the D chord being played 5 times as you're getting your other 3 fingers in position, and then be able to just play those strings right there. The only thing you're not going to be able to do is when you go from the D chord to the G chord in measure 7, you got to get your fingers in position right away. But everything else, if you're having trouble getting there, that's fine. Just go ahead and take your time as you're getting these fingers in position as you keep on strumming that root. Okay? So again, any questions, please come ask me, but do try to play along with the recording I just gave you, so you guys are going to be good to go. All right?